How many of your rights are in the First Amendment? Okay. Do you know what they are? Nice. Good. Yes.
First five rights or amendments. Oh my God.
So let's see. Right to bear arms. You got me on the spot. I'm getting cloudy.
Freedom of being free.
You got to celebrate all our holidays because that's being American.
We have the right to be able to form and protest, and they can't stop us.
What's up, guys? Episode 4, We the People. Here we are in Solana Beach. We're going to be walking around seeing if people know the 5 rights that are associated in the First Amendment, and then we're going to see how they do when we put them through a scenario and what it looks like to assert those rights. You ready? How would you do? Let's find out. Let's go. All right, so the First Amendment has 5 rights in it.
Okay.
Do you know what 5 rights that are protected in the First Amendment are?
I just know freedom of speech, freedom of religion, religion of speech. I'm not sure about the rest.
You know, I can't recall them.
I know freedom of speech is a constitutional, and then freedom of medical choices.
Okay.
I believe that should be constitutional.
It should be, for sure.
I don't know them all, I'm afraid. I don't remember. I'm too old for that.
So let's see. Right to bear arms. You got me on the spot. I'm getting cloudy.
Freedom of being free.
Free speech, free assembly. I think there's a right for trial. I'm not sure about that. Okay.
Freedom of speech. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I know, unfortunately.
Freedom of speech? Yeah.
There's 5 of them.
Yeah. Do tell.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't know any.
The first 5 rights.
So
Free liberty, happiness, bear arms, to protest, free speech.
Religion, freedom of speech, assembly. Oh boy.
You can let me know. Do you know what they are? Yeah, let me know.
Oh my God. This is not good. You're not putting this on Instagram, are you?
freedom of speech, like you said. Protest is another one. Redress, religion, and press. And so we have those rights. Therefore, no one can take them from us, even a police officer. And what I'm learning is the second you start with the question, hey, do you mind if I ask you if you know the first 5 rights in the First Amendment? Everybody goes blank because nobody really wants to look like an idiot. So I got to figure out another solution. We're going to ask them something else. Let's say this is a public park. If you wanted to have a gathering, like you wanted to have like protest the government because of the rules that they're just implementing on no dogs in the public, and you decided, I'm going to have a protest right here, and the police show up and say you have to leave, what can you do?
Freedom of right, call the press, I guess, and let them know. I think I can stand my ground. Okay. And do what I want. It is a free place, and that's what this country's founded on: freedom of speech, and I have the right to be there.
Okay, so what if the police officers keep pushing you to leave?
I don't know if they have the right to.
This being a public park, taxpayers cover the cost of this public park. Therefore, you have the right to assemble and protest. Even during COVID, June 2020, we still had the right protected. And actually, a number of times, we would go and march or rally downtown San Diego, and the police would tell us to leave. And we just stood our ground and said, no, we're not leaving. And we put the ball back in their court to say, what are you going to do? Because we know our rights. Therefore, we have to assert them.
Yes. Great. I know I had a friend that got kicked out of here for having too many people working out last year. Oh, really? So yeah, we were part of that. So I think the lifeguards and the police came and told them to leave. So they did, but I think we didn't know what their rights were.
It depends what you're practicing on the beach. If you're just giving free information, you should be okay to do that, even though I think there should be some restrictions on the type of information you're giving, because you can misinform the public,
Okay, so that would go into freedom of speech.
Yes, you're right. So I believe that we should be allowed to do that.
Okay.
Freedom Speech, right?
So what do we do about misinformation?
I think you should get the information from the people who are educated in medicine, right? Who knows what they're talking about, because science is complicated. Not everybody can give their opinion on, science. I've been a scientist for 17 years, but until now, like, I have to do some research before I give out an opinion.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would have had permission, a permit of some kind, to be there, in which case I would tell a policeman I'm within my rights to be here. I'm going to stay.
So what if you can't get a permit?
Then I would probably leave.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, usually a lot of towns, they require a permit to have a protest. So you might have a little bit of issue there if you hadn't got a permit for your protest. But, generally I would be disposed not to argue as much as disperse. But, you'd like to talk to them and see if there's some way that you could continue without any kind of confrontation, just get your point across.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So let's say in this public park, there's no need for, or there's a permit, but it's a protest toward the government, and you feel like this is something that's necessary to protest, and the police still want you to leave. What do you do?
Well, I think you want to avoid any kind of physical confrontation, because that takes away from the message you're trying to send. Even though you might feel really strongly about it, what really gets the attention is if there's any kind of violence or problem. That's what gets the attention, and then your message is forgotten. So
Technically, you don't have to leave because it is, it's your freedom to protest and it's your freedom of speech. So they can't take that away from you.
So what if the police are getting kind of aggressive and they keep yelling at you forcefully to leave?
Well, personally, I'm not one to, get into conflict, so I would leave. But, I mean, if it was something I really stood for, then, I would stay. But, I mean, I wouldn't want to cause any issues or, have any problems or cause other people to get hurt. And so in that case, I would try and reason. But, I mean, if you want to stay, you're allowed to stay. So.
Do you feel like as Americans we are duty bound to do so?
Yes.
People don't like conflict. Being an American means conflict. Conflict is necessary. You want to gather to talk about how great Pomeranians are.
Yeah.
And the police were to come, and they said you got to disperse. And they're pretty aggressive about it. How do you respond?
You don't. One thing you don't respond is with violence. Emotional. Having an emotional reaction isn't probably the best way to do it. You got to kind of pause and just think things through. We're a country of law first and foremost, aren't we?
Absolutely.
So.
I wholly agree with you.
Yeah. So, even the cops don't follow the laws.
You know how fast you were going?
65.
63.
I'm freaking out, man.
That's true.
And if they don't follow the laws, then what makes them think we have to follow the laws?
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, when a police officer's badge, they're not honoring their badge, we don't have to honor their badge.
Because there'll be many times that, let's say we're doing an interview here, just the two of us civilly enjoying our time, and this business owner got uncomfortable with us talking. They could call the police on us. The police could come tell us to disperse. But we would, in that moment, assert our rights and say, no, we're not leaving.
Usually the police are there are supposed to be there to protect us. And so we kind of have to trust that they're making the correct decisions in protecting us. So if it took if they're dealing with a situation that maybe is a dangerous situation, or they're trying to assess that situation, then we need to listen to them and we need to move out of the way, back up. Again, the same situation applies in terms of us electing officials. Mm-hmm. The same thing is with our police department.
Mandatory vaccinations. Are you for or against mandatory vaccinations?
I actually am for.
I'm for it. I mean, look, do you know what's in the food you eat right now?
Most of it.
Do you? No, you really don't know. I mean, you don't know the fine details. They can type in whatever they want and say what's in the stuff you're eating, but you really don't know.
Does it concern you that Pfizer carries the largest medical suit in history?
In terms of?
Malpractice?
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
$2.2 billion.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Isn't that crazy? That concerns me a little bit.
You know, they're a big company. Look, these companies they're looking to make money, right?
It's very divided, and I feel like I did my part to get fully vaccinated, and I've been vaccinated since March, and I haven't gotten sick, and I feel like it's working. And I didn't know if people just thought we're all just going to drop dead with having the vaccination, but we have grandchildren. I have 8 grandchildren, and I would never want to get them sick that you're not old enough to be vaccinated, so that would make me happy.
It's very caring of you. I value your caring spirit. That's nice. Although I don't think many children have died from this one.
But I don't want to take a risk on my grandchildren.
How do we protect those rights?
Well, we stand up for when our rights are being taken away. Yeah. So
How do we do
it's
that?
not right. Well, if you like wearing a mask, maybe like not wearing a mask, if you don't think, I mean, because we know that, I mean, not everybody knows this, but you know, they're not healthy for you. You can't breathe, you can't get your oxygen, and we're sending our kids to school now with masks, and it's hurting them. So, you know, like right now, I kind of have a little, like I feel actually a little guilty because my kids want to go to school. They're in high school, and they wear a mask, and it makes me feel bad. And I'm like, if you don't want to wear a mask, I'm okay with you getting kicked out of school. You know, you don't have to do that, but they want to go to school because they want to be with their friends.
I think that you do have a responsibility to, like, obviously America, they're like, we're like, our ideal is that we're equal, but that's not the reality of things. And I think it's our duty to kind of make it better in the ways that we can.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what is better? What's defined as better?
The important thing is that it's different for each and every American. So the whole idea is to make your voice known to other people and spread your voice around. Because we're kind of like ideas of walking in the footsteps of giants, right? We look at all these people in the past who we look up to, like Martin Luther King Jr., Eisenhower, Harriet Tubman, all these like famous Americans, and they just, what makes them important and like ideal Americans, the fact that they pushed their idea through and they fought for what they believed in. So everyone should just fight for what they think is right.
Okay, so when it comes to your rights being taken away, what can you do to assert them or protect them?
We have the right to be able to, like, form and, like, protest, and they can't stop us. I feel like I would protest, but I don't know. I'm kind of afraid of cops. I will not lie to you.
You're afraid of them?
Yeah.
I think most people are. So the First Amendment has those 5 rights associated that we're protected by. And then there's federal statutes that even protect those. So if you go into 18 U.S.C. 241, 242, there are criminal charges against people that try to remove your civil rights. But the issue is we don't know what our civil rights are or how to assert them. And so you would leave because you're intimidated, but reality, your duty as an American is to assert your rights. And if you choose not to, we're giving the government more authority than what they're granted. Because we have more authority than the government does.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
So how do you assert your rights?
Express yourself about the rights that you have by applying and letting them know that you understand the rights that you have.
Let's say this mandatory vaccination. Are you for it or against it?
I'm in the middle.
Okay,
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle. It goes into the same thing as religion. You know, it's on your preference. You know, or what you believe in, what your beliefs is, what you have for your family, for the next generation, the education that you might have, the education you don't have. So it's kind of hard to say. It's like it falls in the same category of religion.
Okay, so with the freedom of religion, then anybody can do what they please with religion. So you think the same thing with vaccination?
Right, as of right now.
So no mandatory vaccination?
As of right now.
Okay. So with that, what do you do if they try to force it on your daughter or yourself?
That's a good question. We're not there yet.
It's coming.
But it is coming. Do everything that we have already spoken.
So, like with the mandatory vaccination, it's against our rights as Americans because you're saying freedom of medical choice, freedom of religion. These are all our inalienable rights from God, not from government. So the United States has established God, citizen, government, period. The only way we as Americans stay free is if we do it together. All right, guys, there we go. Episode 4 is wrapped. This was a hard one to get folks to talk on camera, but we had a good time, had some really good conversations. I hope you enjoyed it. You learned something, and you're walking away with a little bit more liberty and knowing how to assert your rights. Episode 4 is wrapped. 5's next week. Check you later. Gotta think about it?
No. Where are you going? I'm trying to be 6 feet, like socially distanced.
Oh, I love it.
You respect that, right?
Sure.